Assassin's Creed Mirage will be the next game that will release as part of the franchise. As of right now, it has no official release date apart from it being sometime within 2023. And even though there is very little information that has been revealed so far, what has been revealed has got quite a few people excited, especially considering it is going back to the original roots. But with all of that said, there are some problems, and that's exactly what we're going through in today's video. But before we do get into the video, if you enjoy the content here and want to see a bit more from me, then make sure that you do hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Every single week we are going through the latest videos surrounding Ubisoft, so if you do want to stay up to date on everything, then make sure you are following the channel. But getting back into the video, with what has been revealed so far for Mirage, it's got quite a few players excited, which also does include me. Some of the key points that really have players hyped are things such as it being more of a story-driven game, rather than it being based around gameplay. The original Assassin's Creeds were based around the story, the narrative that came alongside it, and it did give a reason to carry on playing, not just because it did have good gameplay, which of course is still important, but also because there was a good story beside it. Nowadays, the gameplay can be okay depending which Assassin's Creed that you're playing, but alongside it, the story is lacking. Mirage is also going to put emphasis back on parkour and stealth. Baghdad, which is going to be the setting, is a lot more compact, giving there a lot more opportunities for you to jump from building to building. Ubisoft have even said that with some of the old parkour moves which they had to remove from the franchise, they're now able to add back again for Mirage, and they're able to add even more animations on top. The reason that these moves were taken out of more recent Assassin's Creed is because parkour wasn't as big of an emphasis. There was loads of other ways in which you can travel a world, whether it be through horseback or even on a longship, just because the world was so much bigger and so much more open. Now that does mean with Mirage, it's going to be a smaller world, but that's not necessarily a problem, especially if it's being backed up with content alongside it. In fact, just because of the size of Valhalla, it led to there only being a 19.8% completion rate. This is why it does make sense for Ubisoft to go back and deliver a smaller game in terms of narrative with a smaller world, but also deliver more content in the world as side quests and side activities. And there's a lot of game companies taking this approach. So with all of this, with the announcements that have been revealed, Mirage has a lot of potential, but there is a problem. The first problem that has already been revealed on this channel with a number of different comments, especially on one of the previous videos that I recorded where I went through reasons why you should be hyped for Assassin's Creed Mirage, is that Assassin's Creed Mirage is going to be using the exact same game engine as Valhalla. And the reason I wanted to include this as part of this video is because it's not as big of a problem as it seems from what has been said within the comments. Yes, it's the exact same game engine, but that's not a problem because it comes down to how Ubisoft uses that game engine. For example, Rockstar Games, which are dominant within the open world franchise. In fact, I don't even need to tell you that because you probably already know. The game engine that they use is the Rockstar Advanced Game Engine, also known as the Rage engine. This was developed for Rockstar Games Presents Table Tennis, a game released back in 2006 for Xbox 360 and Wii. That was the first game ever used, but now to this day it's still being used and it's created massive titles with Grand Theft Auto and also Red Dead Redemption. Because with a game engine, as long as you have the creativity and the developers backing it, they're able to implement what is needed so that that game engine can eventually make a very good game in the most efficient way possible. So even though this has been highlighted, it's not necessarily the problem. The problem is Ubisoft themselves. Remember when I said that the game engine is not a problem as long as you have the creativity and the developers backing it, then everything is going to be good. Well, that's where Ubisoft themselves are lacking. They're lacking on the creative side, and that's evident within the most recent years of the games that have been released. There was a time when I was a kid and definitely didn't understand the gaming industry, but I always saw Ubisoft as one of those top game companies. But now, whether or not it's because I've learned more about the gaming industry or that Ubisoft have fell off, but they're just not doing as well. Assassin's Creed overall is a great franchise and had an extremely strong start, with all of their games just absolutely banging. They were doing amazing. And even though from a financial standpoint they're still doing well, they're not as well received. And with the other titles around Assassin's Creed, they're also not doing so well by themselves. They're starting to bring in franchises with Watch Dogs and The Divisions, which can be okay. There's definitely an audience out there for them. But with every other game that they release, they end up needing to shut it down not so long after. And this then leads to Ubisoft having to double down back onto Assassin's Creed, which we've now seen as they've recently announced that there's 5 or 6 in development. With there probably being even more, they're just not ready to announce them as of yet. Ubisoft keep trying to implement live service games, and every single time that they do not do well. With the franchises that are doing well, they seem to try and cram in some of these live services to try and bleed as much money as possible out of those games. And of course, we cannot forget last year, they also tried to take advantage of the hype of NFTs at the time, which also really didn't go down too well. When breaking it down to its core components, I don't think Ubisoft are a bad game company. I think that they can deliver some good games, and there's a load of different games that have been part of my childhood as well as probably your childhood, which have been amazing. I have fond memories as a kid, and if I was to put together a list of my top 10 favorite games, there would be a couple Ubisoft games as part of that list, including Far Cry 3 and also a few of the Assassin's Creed games, being Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and then probably Assassin's Creed 4 as well. But in recent years, they've gone so heavy on the monetization that it really takes away from the gameplay itself. I would really like to see Assassin's Creed Mirage just be a standalone game where you buy and you play, you have fun. And if there's an opportunity for DLC within the future, great. That would be awesome to see. And if they want to go and put that as something that you need to buy into, then by all means, set that as a price. If it's good DLC, I will buy into it. But when they go heavy on microtransactions, especially within the likes of Valhalla, it then takes away from gameplay because there needs to be an incentive for players to actually go through and go and get those microtransactions. Now, the good thing with Valhalla is that they didn't actually put XP as something that you can buy into. But they did make a lot of the resources available for you to purchase, which still makes it a lot easier for you to just go and buy, to go and progress through the game. And it also takes away from the immersion when it does tell you that you could always go to the store to go and buy these resources. And with how Ubisoft are trying to monetize and milk everything out of their players over the last 10-15 years, I honestly don't think it's going to be too far away for them to really take this way too far. And they briefly touched on it with NFTs last year. So to actually conclude this video, I have confidence within Ubisoft and the game developers that they have to create amazing games. But I don't think that potential has been met within recent times. I think the biggest problem that Mirage can face is not the idea, it's not the developers that are currently working at Ubisoft, because I definitely feel that they have a lot of talent and there's certainly potential for them all to create absolutely amazing and stunning games. But I think the problem is that they're going to go way too heavy to try and milk their fan base out of everything that they have, that it takes away from gameplay, and the focus just becomes on how do we make as much money as possible. And money is important for any type of business, but to how far Ubisoft are taking it, especially with the likes of going through NFTs and some of their previous titles, if they try anything with Mirage, I don't think players are going to have that nostalgia of the old Assassin's Creeds, which is what they're trying to do by taking it back to the original roots. I think it's just going to be another crappy Ubisoft game. But anyway guys, this is just one person's opinion. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. This is a topic that I wanted to talk about because there was a lot of people saying that the biggest problem with Mirage is that it uses Valhalla's engine, when I truly believe that the problem is so much bigger than that and really comes down to the roots of Ubisoft themselves. But if you have a different opinion to me, let me know in the comment section down below. But anyway guys, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going to see ya.